Welcome to my sewing room. I am so very pleased today to have my good friend Joyce Drexler as my guest. Joyce is the co-managing partner of Sulky of America. Now Joyce has written a lot of books, I think maybe 14 or 15, and the title of her newest book is Dimensional Concepts in Sulky. And Joyce is going to share some wonderful dimensional sewing ideas with us today. Joyce, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here today.
I am so tickled with these darling. Are these projects from the new book?
They are.
Look at this little Halloween.
Isn't
Tell
that
us
adorable?
about it. Tell us
this
about
was designed originally by Jenny Janke, and she was a So Exciting seminar person for us that traveled. And we just love what she came up with, and it has dimensional,
look.
right, all over it. It's dimensional. Turn it around
this
because
is
the back.
So cute. I just love the little look.
Don't
the
you
little
love the
spider
web? Yeah.
Now, was this one done over the puffy foam, or
No, that was actually done over one of the stabilizers that disintegrates.
Oh, this is so cute. The little Halloween with all the pretty tucks and folds and all kinds of goodies on it. Now, is it? Oh, what an adorable! So done on a purchased sweatshirt.
That's right.
I love
a
that.
lot of us don't like to sew the garments that we work with, but we like to put the embellishment on. And this was done by Carol Ingram. And in fact, she got these pumpkin shapes off of the internet.
You know, a lot of people are doing a lot of designing that way.
Yeah,
Isn't it fun?
it's great.
All this high technology. And you know, I think it's not necessarily that all of us don't necessarily like to sew as much anymore, but Joyce, it's a matter of time. And when we have the fun of embellishing like a store-bought sweatshirt, we can have twice as many outfits and only make half of them.
Exactly. Especially when we're making gifts for other people. It speeds it up.
I know. Oh, how adorable. Look at this cute denim shirt. Is this a store-bought that's been embellished also?
That's right. This was a man's shirt that makes into an overshirt for a woman. And we just put patches of different mum's fabric over it and embellished it with a cross-hatch straight stitching using a variegated multicolored rayon thread that really brought all the interest of the different colors into
I really
view.
love this. I love the hatch stitching. That is quite pretty. Now let's see. Has this one got a wonderful? Oh, this has a cute back too.
Yeah, this has a cute back too. And again,
just cross hatching is really interesting.
It's really fun to do, and anyone can do that with a straight stitch on your machine.
Yeah, you know, a lot of this you just have to have straight and zigzag in order to be able to do it.
You can do so much.
This is so cute.
Now, for those ladies who have the computer embroidery techniques in their machines, they can go and do dimensional work like this flower.
Done on the puffy foam.
Right, and that's sort of like what we're going to be showing today in the project.
Okay, look here. See, that flower kind of sticks out.
It
was so
does.
cute. Now let me turn this around. There's another adorable
and
design
I
on
really
the back
like how
of this.
Carol Ingram did this design, and she did the embroidery, and then she braided the basket to really look like a basket.
Is that like ultra suede?
It is, yes.
Oh, and I just love those little flowers that stick up. Oh my, how much fun. Let me pull this in front over here.
Now this one took a lot of thread.
Oh my goodness, but isn't it fun?
This is the sliver-like metallic thread that's very, very shiny. And this whole vest piece on the inside is totally made out of thread. It was done on the water-soluble stabilizer.
It isn't lined, so look here, I can turn it around.
Exactly. And this is just a great thing to do. You can create your own designs, but we wanted to create a plaid. We thought that would be really interesting.
This is really beautiful.
Combining the regular metallics and the slivers.
How much fun. Very sophisticated fall outfit here.
Yes, this was done with a computerized design over puffy foam to get a raised effect to it.
You know, I call that padded satin stitch. I know it's really puffy foam, but this is really beautiful. It really does look like the old padded satin stitch from the turn of the century,
It does, and that digitizing they do makes it come out just so pretty.
Okay, now isn't
this lovely?
Wonderful. Looks like little peekaboo pockets there.
That's exactly it. It's like little windows of opportunity where you can put your different embroidery designs, and you can take a theme like the floral design that we did here and make these little windows and put them in. And when you want to change your outfit, you can just take all the little windows out because they're stuck in there with just a temporary spray. And then there's a wonderful design already in there, but you could then put a Christmas design if you wanted to make a Christmas vest for later in the season.
Isn't that so great? Wonderful. Just a temporary spray holds it in there. But look, you can also
just wear it like that.
Now wait. Oh, we haven't seen the back yet. Hold on just a minute. We're going to go back here also. Now, isn't that fun? You talk about the vest for all occasions.
That's it.
I think this is the vest, and we can just pull these little goodies out and put more. Oh, Joyce,
and put different themes
That
in.
is a wonderful idea. And now Joyce is going to share with you some of her fascinating techniques for making wonderfully embellished clothes like these. Joyce, I'm just going to turn it over to you. These are some of the most adorable, wonderful projects I've ever seen. Now tell us how you did them.
All right, Martha. Well, we start out with a color of the puffy foam, and the foam comes in about 12 different colors, which really makes it interesting that you can play with it. What we usually try to do is match our thread as close as we can to the color of foam that we're using, but it doesn't have to match perfectly. Then what we want to do is look at these different thicknesses that we have. We have a 3 millimeter, and the orange is a 2 millimeter. But what you can do, Martha, is you can take your temporary spray adhesive, and you can actually spray this and spray 2 layers together. Of course, they usually choose the same color.
And why not be creative?
That's right. Well, we can be as creative as we want. And then what you end up having then is a width of 5 millimeter. And when you're dealing with these wider widths, Martha, you want to adjust the pressure on the foot. Because if you can reduce that pressure on the foot, you can get more and more layers of puffy under it and make it as dimensional as you would like for your work. Now I'm just going to hand these to you so I have the area there to show some of these samples. What I wanted to talk about first was doing some computerized machine embroidery designs like these pumpkins and this ghost that you see here. They all had the puffy underneath them, and the way that we set up for that is we take our embroidery hoop and we place a sticky-like stabilizer underneath, and then we place our fabric onto the sticky stabilizer, and we have sprayed our puffy foam with the temporary spray adhesive, and that way it stays in place as it's stitching. And then once it's done stitching that down over the orange, all I do is just pick that up, and it's perforated all the way around, and it just comes off so easily. Now this was made especially for the industrial embroidery market, and we like this because it does perforate away easily. And that's how you would actually do the process.
That's called glue and stick, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much so. There you go. I just wanted to point out a couple of different designs here too that we used, because this may come up when you're designing things. Here on the shirt I'm wearing, in fact, I made a branch, and there is puffy foam underneath here.
Now what thickness did you use on
I
that
just
branch?
used a 2 millimeter. And
it really looks like a branch, doesn't it?
It really does. And what happens is, to get the pattern on top of this, we have actually traced it onto a lightweight tearaway, or you could use a water-soluble tearaway. And then you simply satin stitch over it. Tear away the tearaway. And what also happens then, as you tear this off, you will also be able to find that that this is going to perforate off also. So it just perforates away. And later I'll show you how to get rid of those little fuzzies that you see on there.
Okay.
Now this shows you the branch finish so that you can actually see the relief there. It really is dimensional and rounded. And that's what that puffy foam does for you. So you can have a lot of fun with it. Now another thing that I had a lot of fun designing were these Grandma Goes Wild shirts. That's what I call them. I made one for my granddaughter and one for me to match. And
how cute!
It's a wonderful
Grandma
way.
Goes Wild
Grandma
shirts.
Goes
I need some of those.
It's these loud colors that makes you go wild. See, I live in Florida, so I can pull this off pretty well.
Oh, listen, we can pull that off anywhere. Alabama, Michigan, Minnesota, California.
All right.
Okay. Let's see, Grandma.
Yeah, that's right. And what's so nice about these colorful prints that we're able to get now, we can do so many wonderful things. And what I thought would be fun is to kind of frame in a couple of the embroidery designs, and then to do this area that you see where the raised satin stitch is, we simply cut the puffy foam into 1/8 of an inch strips. Okay. And these strips then are just stitched over using a foot that has a grooved bottom, so that the strip will flow and be moved easily right through that. So it's nice to use a beading or cording foot when you're doing that. But that's how I was able to just get a nice little satin stitch
just
going.
Zigzag right over.
Now you could have put the whole piece there too, like we did on the other subject, but there's no need. And I never throw away any little scraps because I can use them under my embroideries. Like on this one, when I did this one, I had the stitching that went over the giraffe actually started out like this. It was in the hoop, and the puffy was stitched right over top. So what happens is you have the fabric, you place the puffy, and then you let the embroidery machine do its work, and when it's done, it just perforates off, and you have that raised effect. Now you really get another raised effect here on the final stitching of the zebra as well. Lots of times I'll wait till the final stitching pattern to put the puffy on because I want that part to be raised more than the actual embroidery area.
Okay, so you can do part of the embroidery and then put the puffy on for the final stitching.
For the final stitching. And this one is one of my little granddaughters. And you can see that I used a decorative stitch this time. And instead of using just a strip, I did lay a broader piece down and stitched over it with a wavy decorative stitch.
And then pulled it away.
And then pulled it away.
That looks like Puffy zigzag.
It is Puffy zigzag.
It's so cute.
Now we have a couple of embroideries here that we wanted to show.
Pretty.
You were asking me about the layering on this one, and just like I said on the zebra, we did the first few layerings without putting any puffy, and then we added the puffy at the end when it did this particular color to raise that and then to raise the bow. So sometimes you'll want to look at the design, and for your applique designs as well that are done on the computerized machine or done by free motion work, you can add your fabric and then put puffy over it to give the embellished areas a lift. And aren't these just the most precious designs? These letters are all raised and the glasses are raised, and it really does make a great look to the different embroideries. Here a satin stitch area was raised, and I love this little snail. We have different raised areas, and each time we changed the color of the puffy that we used under the area before we chose the stitch. And here we have a nice three-dimensional little dolphin, and I love this turtle. These areas are all raised with the puffy foam.
And you know, Joyce, when you mentioned about grandchildren, I can't think of anything that would be any more fun to have a granddaughter or a grandson enjoy sewing as to do projects like this, T-shirts with puffy foam, and these are so adorable.
And they're so easy.
And then all of a sudden they are sewing. So the interest in sewing would be there. Oh, Joyce, thank you so much.
Oh,
that
you're
was
welcome.
Absolutely adorable. And now Joyce has a really, really nice home decorating project for you. I love this puffy pansy box. Oh, it is just beautiful. The shades of lavender and purple and green, and not only are these wonderful 3D pansies with the 3D leaves, but there's even a 3D butterfly. Joyce, show us how to do this. It is so beautiful.
I'm glad you like it, Martha. What we do to develop that is actually make layers of applique, thread applique, over top of puffy foam. And the way that that is set up is you will start with your embroidery piece stabilized with the soft and sheer permanent stabilizer. And this is a stabilizer that will remain, it won't tear away. And we just simply lay the color that we want to embroider over. For the leaves, we have chosen green, of course, and we used a black bobbin thread that's designed to go with the threads. And you simply let the machine do the work. And then once you have the different designs done, like we've done here, we've done the base of the pansy, and then we've done the top of the pansy, and we don't tear out this purple area. We leave that to support this next area that we're going to glue on top. But what I wanted to show you is how you remove this stabilizer.
Okay.
The reason we like to use this particular one is that you can take a hot wood burning tool like this with a fine tip, and you can simply touch this and it'll burn away the stabilizer. Can you see that, Martha?
Oh, yeah.
Now, try not to breathe in that fume. You know, it's not that great for you to be doing that, but it'll take away all of that. And if your tip gets a lot of stuff on it, you can wipe it off with a pot holder or use a wire brush. So we are simply going to make a very three-dimensional look here. We have an actual piece that's been cut out, and then the layer that we're going to put on top, we take a piece of permanent glue, and we're just going to put a dab of it right there. You don't need a whole lot. And then you're going to simply put that on top of it. And as you can see, you have a layered look then, a very raised and pronounced pretty thing. And what we did to prepare the box was we simply painted it and sprayed it with a finish and glued a ribbon around it. And once the leaves were done, we took the temporary spray adhesive, sprayed the top of the box with it, to hold the leaves where we wanted them, because we had to put each leaf on separately to see if that's where we wanted it. And once we had them where we wanted, we lifted them up and put the permanent glue to hold them. So that's just a little glue job you do on top of the box.
Well, that's a good idea, because you really don't know exactly, because as I look at this adorable little box, the leaves are just coming there. The little tip is off here, and the little tip is off here.
Don't you love how they curl around? Now,
I
did want to say who actually designed this technique is Nancy Ree Paris, and she's a designer out of Florida that has done an outstanding job.
Well, I really think this is truly elegant, and I would have to have a very special friend to make a beautiful box like this for.
It's truly a treasure box,
Joyce,
isn't it?
thank you so much, and just really appreciate your being here, bringing these wonderful ideas for us.
Thank you, Martha.
Next, I have a wonderful quilt square to share with you. This very elegant handkerchief linen and lace quilt looks very difficult to do, but I promise you it is easy. Let me share with you the two squares we're going to talk about today. This has the curved lace and the gathered lace edging stitched down with an entredot stitch. Then the middle square has curved lace once again with a lace edging stitched down, and then a lace diamond in the middle and a machine embroidered bow. And of course you could put a hand embroidered bow there if you would like to. Aren't those pretty squares? Okay, it really is easy to do. And people say everywhere I go, Martha, you tell me how easy it is, and I never believe you until I see you, and it really is. Okay, now let's make those three curved sections, the curved lace and the corner. First of all, I'm going to put the pins on the outside. Then I'm going to pull one of the drawstrings that are built into, as a matter of fact, I may pull one at each end that is automatically built into French lace. And do you see how that lace just went down as flat as could be? Now let me just do it down here. See, I've got this floppy lace, pins on the big side of the curve. All right, I'm going to pull the string, and that side lays down. Then I'm going to come over here and pull another string. I say a string, of course it's a gathering thread. But when I pull both of them, and after I spray, starch, and press and pull the threads on this one, it's going to be just perfect. And you see I can put the lace down right in the middle. All I did was just lay it down. That one was easy. After these are shaped and pressed, I simply pull the gathering thread in the lace edging, get it kind of shaped around, take it off the board to go to the sewing machine and butt it together and sew it. That is really very easy. I told you it was going to be. This is what it looks like after it's finished. Can you see the three pieces of lace that we've shaped? Now, why is it all of a sudden peekaboo back there? Well, I have gone back and very carefully just trimmed the fabric from behind this lace. See how pretty the gathered lace edging is? And the lace in the middle is just simply stitched down. All right, now then, I'm going to... you know what? I'm going to go ahead and show you the lace shaping first before I sew, I think. Now, that was curving lace. Let me share with you how you make a lace diamond. I have a diamond drawn on my quilt square here. I put a pin at the bottom and a pin at the top. Then coming out this way, I've put a pin on the outside and a pin on the inside. Now, I'm going to take the lace tail, fold it back on itself, mash it down, remove this inside pin, put it through both layers of the lace, and watch this magic that happens. A perfect miter is folded in. Now watch me again. Let's do it again. I'm going to put a pin at the top and a pin at the bottom. I'm going to fold the lace tail back on itself, remove the bottom pin, and a perfect miter is folded in. See how quickly it goes? I'm going to put a pin on the outside, a pin on the inside, fold it back on itself, remove the inside pin, put it through two layers, and another perfect miter is folded in. Then I'm going to come down to the bottom, put a pin at the top, and I'm going to fold it underneath, back on itself, but underneath, put a pin at the bottom, and that's all there is to making that lace diamond. Now I've got my lace diamond shaped over here, and I'm going to stitch it with a wing needle entredot stitch. Now you can just zigzag it. You do not have to have a wing needle entredot stitch. Now no machine company in the world suggests that you sew over pins. So I'm going to come down to the corner. I'm going to watch carefully and come down to the corner. And when I reach the corner, I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn the corner. I do have stabilizer. This is a beautiful entre-deux stitch. I'm going to turn the corner, and I'm going to sew on the other side with a wing needle. I use a 100 wing needle, and you can use any kind of a stabilizer, and that is all you do to have a machine entre-deux that goes around that beautiful lace-shaped diamond. Now then, I have a finished one right here for you to see. So let me pull the pretty center square over here for you to look at. And this time I have just zigzagged, because you don't have to have a fancy sewing machine. Of course, you're going to enjoy one if you do have one. But do you see, you can also just zigzag the lace shapes down. Now, to finish that center shape just the way I had done, I will simply put the machine embroidery in the middle, or you could do hand embroidery, or for that matter, it's perfectly beautiful just to leave it plain. And next, I would like to invite you to come to my attic with me. I have two beautiful garments to share with you today. This beautiful blouse has the traditional high neckline with 3 tucks. Now look at the pin tucks that go across the front of the blouse. And this appears to be, well, the pin tucks even go down the front of the blouse too. This appears to me to be a purchased motif of some kind, which has been stitched down on top of the pin tucks. You know, we studied a few minutes ago how to do a miter. Well, here is an antique blouse with a miter right there in the front. And as you know, many times the backs of these beautiful Victorian blouses are almost as pretty as the front. This one is no exception, with the beautiful pin tucks that come down the back and the beautiful lace insertion. Now the petticoat is the real unbelievable thing I have for you today. This is a godet, a tucked godet petticoat. Isn't that the most beautiful skirt? Now, as you can see, the wide lace insertion was stitched down, that would be about 6 inches. Then the godet, the tucked godet, was inserted, and the insertion then went down on both sides of that the insertion, the lace insertion. Isn't that pretty? And look how full this petticoat is after those godets have put in. This is such a beautiful technique, not only for a lady's petticoat, but also for a child's dress. I think that's really beautiful. We have a wonderful Sewing from the Heart today, and it comes from Tanya Jensen, my friend from Campbell, California. This is a project that is kind of unusual. It comes from an internet chapter. It says, we have made heirloom ornaments to decorate a Christmas tree using the 8-inch doll dress patterns from A Christmas to Remember. Here is another update, Martha, on our community service project benefiting breast cancer. The official scoop is this. The Web Smockers, the online chapter of SAGA Saga, which is the Smocking Arts Guild of America, in conjunction with the Cardinal chapter of Smocking Arts Guild of America of Richmond, Virginia, will have a booth at the American Cancer Society Relay for Life on May 15th and 16th, located at Short Pump Middle School in Glen Allen, Virginia. This is a really lovely residential part of town, so we're hoping that we will sell a good bit of money in raffle and ticket sales. Tanya further writes, our tree will be absolutely beautiful with this little heirloom dresses all over the tree instead of traditional ornaments. I hope we can make a big splash for breast cancer. The American Cancer Society person I'm in contact with asked if it were strictly to be used for research. I told her not necessarily, but that we wanted it earmarked for breast cancer. Proceeds can go for research as well as aid to victims, education, and so forth, but the proceeds for our Christmas tree did need to go under the umbrella of breast cancer. And Tanya further writes that several of the So Beautiful designers have made dresses for this wonderful Christmas tree. Tanya, I just really would like to thank you and all of the group, the Web Smockers. Isn't that exciting that we even have volunteer organizations that meet on the internet? In conjunction, of course, with a traditional chapter in Richmond, Virginia. It's so exciting to me that you have undertaken this project and doing these beautiful little heirloom ornaments to go on a wonderful Christmas tree to be raffled off. I certainly think there's going to be a lucky lady or gentleman who's going to get that wonderful Christmas tree. It will be a treasure forever. Thank you so much for joining me in my sewing room today. I'd like to invite you to come back next time.